few mantras, some words that you can catch here and there, you can see that it is all related to the various organs and parts of the body. So for the body, the Sanskrit word is Sharira, and this is a paragraph which is Anuvaka. So probably we can give it a name that this is a Sharira Anuvaka. So we'll try to discover in each of the Anuvakas, is there some key which we can pick up and give a title to that Anuvaka. So that way, the study will become even more interesting. So since this is all addressed to the various organs of the body, not only of the physical body, but also the subtle body called the Sukshma Sharira, and also let us see if it touches upon the Karana Sharira, the causal body also in this Anuvaka. So the prayer is everything that is related to the body, make that body perfect. Secondly, make that body worthy of worship. Make my body worthy of experiencing, enjoying, contributing, serving the world that I live in. So these are the reasons why we pray, because we saw that the entire prayer is everything we want for the sake of yajna, yajnena kalpantam. So then, since this is the Sharira Anuvaka, and we are also asking for the efficient and efficacious body, we can also add one more adjective to this, saying that Sharira Patava Prarthana Anuvaka. Patava means efficiency, acuity. Sharira, Patava, acuity. Prarthana, prayer. Anuvaka, paragraph. So we can also call this as Sharira Patava Prarthana Anuvaka. These are all some christening that we can come up in our own creative way. So the three Shariras, Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Shariras are prayed for. So who are the Devatas that we have seen already? The Devatas are Agni and Vishnu, because the Anuvaka starts with Agna Vishnu. So what is the role of Agni? The role of Agni is, as Vaishvanara Agni, we need the prana shakti or the energy of life force itself. So what is the basis for us? The basis is in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. And then if you are familiar with the Kathopanishad, in the Kathopanishad you remember Yama's wife or somebody in the family, maybe his minister, warns Yama on his return after 3 days, a Atithi, a guest, comes as Vaishvanara. And then he comes as Vaishvanara. When he comes as Vaishvanara, he will take away all that you have. What are they? The hopes, asha, the expectation of what you should get, pratiksha, all the benefits that have accrued to you by means of the pleasant prayer and speech that you have done, all the benefits that have come out of your good friendships and satsanga, all of them can be taken away by the Vaishvanara Agni. Vaishvanara Agni is Atithi here. But that is okay. But basically it is Vaishvanara Agni. As long as Vaishvanara Agni is within us. So who is this Vaishvanara Agni? Vishwa Nara. Vishwa means universe. Vishwa is also a technical term in Vedanta, which means it is our physical body. Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna. So this Vishwa Nara. Nara means the human being. That way Vaishvanara is supported by Vaishvanara Agni. Therefore Agnau. So why are we worshipping Vishnu then? Agna Vishnu. Vishnu is the Sthitikaraka, or the one who maintains the status quo as long as it should. So until the very last minute I am alive, Vishnu will be there, Vaishvanara Agni will be there in me, both of them making sure that all my sense organs, all my organs in fact, are kept functioning. How well? That's why we are doing the prayer. So he's to make it functioning, the both of them must exist. And therefore, hey, Agni and Vishnu, please keep my body functioning. Agni as Vaishwanara Agni, Vishnu as the Sthitikarakaha, one who supports. So therefore, Yajnena Kalpantam, please make sure that every part of my body, every organ of my body, both gross and subtle, are in perfect order. So the Viniyoga or the use of this also, if there is any sickness or discomfort, sickness of the body, discomfort of the mind, then we can do the japa or the repetition of the first Anavaka also. So there is also a purpose for using these mantras. So we had studied in the first part, Swaraha. The next word we have to look at is Swaraha. Swara is the proper intonation, that is when you are chanting the mantra, which syllable should be taken up, which should be flat, which should be brought down, which should be elongated twice the time, called the Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita and Dirgha or Dirgha Swarita. So all of these things make this perfect for me. We have studied this in great detail when we looked at the Shiksha as part of the Vedanga. So if you go back and refer to your notes or listen to the talk on Shiksha, you will be able to remember all that. So from when everything, all our pronunciation has become perfect, the next is you use that pronunciation for shlokaha. Shloka means stuti or prayer. Not only the ability to pray, but also give me the aptitude to pray. Because if we don't have the tendency to worship and to pray, what is the use of the best possible articulation in your speech? So the purpose of articulate speech is so that we can worship and pray. And therefore, natural transition of the scripture is from ability to speak, make me inclined towards prayer. So ability to speak is the organ of speech, physical, or we can say psychosomatic, physical, mental, and then actual desiring to speak, to pray, is part of the buddhi. So this is how we have got to interpret each one of the mantras. So there is the participation of Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and also in Sukshma Sharira we have the Antakarana participating. Then Shravaha. Shravaha means oratory, persuasive pravachana shakti. That is the ability to captivate the audience. And then how should we captivate the audience? People should feel that even though they have listened to you for 3 hours, it must look as though it was 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So such an ability to arrest your audience, that ability you please give me. So there is a lovely situation in a very great drama. See, I have to start introducing Kavya also to you as a comparative study because somehow in so much of Vedanta we lose sight of the importance of Kavya. So we look at Kavya because Kavya Shastra Vinodena Kalo Vachati Devatam. Intelligent people have to blend both poetry and fine arts and also Shastra. In Bhavabuti Uttara Ramacharita, a situation will come. Bhavabuti was writing this drama, Uttara Ramacharita, and then in the forest, Rama and Sita are sitting on a very beautiful moonlit night. On that moonlit night, they have been, very intimately sitting, husband and wife, and they are talking with each other. And then he completes the poem by saying, Ratri Revam Viramsit. Thus, in conversation, the husband and wife, the night passed. So he also goes to bed. And next morning he gets up and looks back on his poem, on this verse, and says, oh, I have to make a little change here. And he did Ratrireva Vyaramsit. Instead of Ratrirevam Vyaramsit, thus the night was spent. He said the night itself had gone. The night itself had gone, but their talking and their intimacy was not complete. Ratrireva Vyaramsit. This is called Kavi Samaya. This is the aesthetic beauty of a great composition. So when I pray for Shravaha, I must get such a capacity that my audience should not feel the passage of time. How? Avidita Gatayama. Avidita means unknowing, not knowing. Yama Gataha. Yama means a particular period of time. Avidita Gatayama Ratrireva Vyaramsit expands Bhagavati. So that the ability, Hey Shiva, Hey Agni, Hey Vishnu, please give me that capacity. Then, when will that speech be of that quality? When can we get the attention of somebody to that level? Only when what we speak is good for another person. Hitam. And the ideas you convey are brief. Mitam. So if for a whole night you want to speak, if you want to do a seminar for 6 hours, and you want to arrest the attention of everybody, every single sentence you speak must have content. So the ideas must flow in such a garland. There should be no repetition. There should be no unnecessary speech. And every sentence and its idea must build upon the previous sentence. And it must be done with such choice of words that it must steal your heart. So much we are asking in just one word. Shravaha. Hitam. Mitam. Na atiprasangam. That means there is not too much of expanding or beating around the bush, no chewing gum business. Na atiprasangam cheto harihi. That which arrests your mind. This is what we are asking of Shiva. Shravaschame. So to be able to get that level of communication, we must also learn to listen. So the very next thing is Shrutischame. Shruti means ability to listen to others. Because when we keep our eyes, ears and everything open, you don't know from which part, from whom something very profound and deep knowledge we get. So next we were asking for, make me alert at all times. Whenever somebody speaks words of value and wisdom, please raise my attention. And whenever they are conversing something bad, unwholesome, evil, unnecessary, let me also get the ability to shut down. That means there may be 4 sentences that another person speaks. 1 good, listen. 2 bad, shut off. 4th one good, switch it back on. That quickness, give me, that is Shrutischame. So from where does it come? From Jyotischame, from alertness. Jyoti means alertness, brilliance, subtlety, sharpness of mind. So that Suvaschame, I will be in a state of heavenly joy. The hallmark of a learned person is all the time he is in a state of ananda. Suvaschame. And also give me the motivation to do good and wholesome things. Sukrita, so that the ability to attain Svarga is there, Sukratanchame. Then the next one is simple, Prana, Apana, Vyana, as an indication of all the Pancha Pranas, all of them. All the 5 pranas, Prana, Apana, Vyanodana, Samana, but the mantra has chosen only 3, Prana, Apana and Vyana, but you have to include this, that the other 2 are also there. That the technique of such composition is called Adhyahara in poetry. Adhyahara means it is understood that the other 2 are also there. And all of these make us being alive. That is Asuhu, means alive. Asushchame. Now we come to Chittanchame, Adhitanchame. We can combine the 2. That means the intellectual ability to get knowledge, Chitta, and then the capacity to objectify something which is very subtle. Mentally you should be able to objectify that. That means a subtle should be made into a gross form in your mind, so that you understand that and you are also able to make the other person understand this. Let's take an example. For example, you have seen a place. You have gone to a sightseeing place, and then you have taken in all the sights. And then you are talking to somebody who has not seen that place. How do you explain what you have seen, the emotions you have felt, the beauty you have experienced? You must do it in such a way that when the other person afterwards goes there, it must look familiar.
It's very good. Ashok came alone to live in the US first. Then this was a long time ago, in the 70s. And he came back and described Chicago so well. When we came together, I knew what the road next road was. The next road was. Wow.
So this is Chittancha, Adhitancha. That ability to articulate to the other person so perfectly. Now, say for example, you have to speak upon to somebody, you have to talk to somebody about Atman. How do you articulate? How do you show them? How do you make them understand the concept of Atman, Brahman, which is so subtle, and then you must be able to somehow objectify the unobjectifiable, isn't it? And unless you do that, you will not be able to teach. We always fall short. Then we have to fall back upon the cop-out, right? It can only be done by negation. The only way you can know Brahman is Neti Neti, and then you run away from the class. But positively also you must be able to do that. So that ability we are asking, please give me Chittanchama Adhitanchame. And to be able to do that, give me an alignment of all the Jnanendriyas. Vakchame, Manaschame, Chakshuschame, Shrotranchame, in such a way. Give me that combination of all my subtle abilities, Vak, Manaha, Chakshu, Shrotam. They are a sequence of this. You will come across that sequence wherever you study in Vedanta. It comes as a sequence. So these 4, let them be so aligned that I can manipulate, control my physical organs to make them the most efficient. So one of the qualities you will see in highly skilled artisans, you will see minimum effort. Their body movement, their movement of their limbs will be the minimum. So little they do, but they would have achieved the highest efficiency. And if I try to do that, it will be so crude. And then probably even like driving a nail, they just nobody does that. So that capacity is called dakshata. So that's why the next part of the mantra is dakshachame. The capacity for the body to control the vak, manas, chakshusrotra. The ability for vak, manas, chakshusrotra to make the body daksha, to make the body efficient. That power, Agni, Vishnu, please give me. Balanchame. Balar is representing to all the karmendriyas, because you want the strength in your actual organs of action, hands, feet, etc. And you give me Ojaschame. Ojaha means strength, virility, reproductive ability on the one hand. On the other hand, ability to control my sexual desire, Brahmacharya Shakti. One word. Ojas is not only the ability for reproduction, but also the ability to control our sexual urges. Which means that where it is proper, you show your sexual prowess. Where it is improper, you practice brahmacharya. That you give me. That's the vision of the sages. Because otherwise we misunderstand the Vedanta and the Dharma Shastra again. Because Dharma Shastra says brahmacharya is the way to heaven. Brahmacharya is the way for enlightenment. But brahmacharya not used where it should not be used will be bad for the society, will be bad because you will fail to give the gift of a worthy child to the cosmos. Isn't it? So that is the Ojaha quiz. Karnayo Shrotram Bahuvorbalam Uruvoroja Arishta Vishwanyangani Tanu. It is from the Mahanarayana. So Uruvo Rojaha. So from where this Ojas is located in Uru. Uru means thighs. So another cross reference for this is the Purusha Sukta. In the Purusha Sukta, it is the Vaishya came from Uru. So why is it Vaishya is assigned Uru whereas we are talking about Ojas? Because if at all it should have been in the Kshatriya, isn't it? Why in Vaishya? Huh? Yeah, no, not only that. Vaishya is the one who is the producer of food and resources, whereas Brahmana and Kshatriya were consumers. As Brahmana and Kshatriya, whatever the Vaishya has produced, we just use it. So that Ojas is not required for a Brahmana to in that sense. Therefore, Urvo Rojaha. In fact, even in the wedding, in the wedding mantras, when Madhuparka is given to the groom, honoring of the groom, we will ask him to touch his thighs and say, "In my thighs, let there be Ojas." So both as a power for reproduction and also as a power for you are the one who has got to bring all the resources for the family. So, Uruvo Roja. And then, Sahaschame. Sahaha means endurance, perseverance. In all of these things, if you don't stick to a project, keep dropping out of the projects, how can there be any progress? Every time we have to go back to the drawing board. And we have to have long life too. Therefore, Ayushchame. Jarachame. Beautiful word. Jarachame means I have to age gracefully. Because one of the worst things that will happen to a person is as a person grows old, grumpy old men, right? very insufferable. Whereas when we grow old gracefully, the amount of wisdom and every one of these one has achieved will be a blessing for the society. That is why we must have amidst us an elderly person who is Sadguna, a scholar, a learned person, a person who can also give us a guidance in this way, saying, now, unit by unit, now you are going through this particular situation, in this situation, this is what you do. So we have to go back to mitam hitam. And then once you sort it out, the same person will come back to you, then you give the philosophical background as to why you took that decision, why you recommended that. Make me grow old like that. Ezra Pound, Rabbi Ben Ezra, right? Rabbi Ben Ezra, Grow Old With Me. One of the beautiful poems in English. So, Jara Chame. The key whether I have grown old well is, do youngsters come to me? That is the key. If the youngsters avoid me, then I must go back to the drawing board. Atma Chame. Question. In this context, why Atma? What do you mean by Atma here? Yes. We cannot translate this word as Atman because it will be out of context. So here it means Deha, Manas, Buddhi, Indriyas are all Atma because it is Sharira Anuvakaha. So be careful when you translate the word Atma. So Atma Chame, Tanushchame. Tanu, it comes from the Sanskrit root Tanu Vistare. That means of its own accord it will expand. So you don't have to have an external agency to expand your body. For example, a child who is probably 21 inches long and then 7 pounds over a period of time will become 100 times. So Tanushchame comes from the root Tanu Vistare. So purify my Tanu, give me a well-formed, defect-free body. Because Shariram Kalu Dharma Sadhanam. Without proper Sharira, what good can we do? So therefore give me Tanushchame. Sharma Chame. Sharma means prasannata, shanti, samadhana, calmness of mind. Sharma. That's why the last name of a Brahmana is given as Sharma. Because the hallmark of a Brahmana is that he should always be very peaceful, very controlled. Conversely, anybody who is very peaceful and controlled is a Brahmana. Sharma Chame. Varma Chame. Varma, as you know, is the suffix for a Kshatriya. So what does a Kshatriya need? Defensive mechanism, isn't it? Which means that he has to have the armor, body armor. So Varma Chame is the armor which is resistant to diseases. So make my body resistant to diseases. See here, he is not afraid of death. He is not anxious about preserving his body. He is telling the Ishvara that give me all these things for the sake of worshipping, for the sake of doing good to the society. For myself, you want to take me any moment, I am ready. So I am doing your work. So that is the underlying. So Varma Chame. Angani Chame, keep my limbs intact. Asthani Chame, not much explanation is required for this. Asthani Chame, let all my bones be in place. See, as long as all our bones are in place, we don't care about it. But if something happens, then, we will be worried about it. And then Parugumshi Chame. Parugumshi Chame means that all my joints should be well knit. Whoever is suffering from arthritis have to say this mantra many times. Parugumshi Chame. Sharirani Chame. So two ways we can interpret this word Sharirani Chame. Either you can say whatever parts were not mentioned, it comes in this global noun Sharirani Chame. But my personal interpretation for this is Karana Sharira. Because Karana Sharira is the one which will cause future bodies and Punarjanma. Not only in this Janma give me this ability. If I have to take another Janma at all, I am trying not to. But if it happens, let the next Janma be better. So with that we conclude a quick study of the first Anuvaka. Much more for you to contemplate.